Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and there are plenty of rumors going around that the next expansion we may see a Death Knight class added to the game. I thought it'd be really interesting to take a look at some custom fan creations of what a Death Knight class could look like. There's basically a custom 42 card set that was shared on the Hearthstone subreddit. I'll shout out the guy when we get to it, as well as go over Death Knight cards that are already in Hearthstone, and well, could they see play? Would they have to be changed, or would you just outright scrap them? And I just thought it'd be a fun little thing. And before we get into it, just a friendly reminder, if you feel like I've earned your subscription, I would appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel and drop a like on the video. It helps out a lot. So starting off with what's already in Hearthstone itself, if you take a look at the Hearthstone wiki, you have Death Knight cards, but they were pretty much all put in the Frozen Throne when the Lich King was added to the game. Artifice and Transfer Student could also add that to your hand, and well, there are some treasures in Duels too. And well, there are a bunch of Death Knight cards in the game. There's non-collectible ones that you can't play in any Hearthstone game, and while a lot of them would probably just be completely OP and broken, like Fallen Champions, whenever an enemy dies this game, take control of it. Probably a bit too OP. Or, you know, 1 mana, gain 100 armor. But there were cards in the game of Hearthstone. All of these Death Knight cards basically starting from here, Army of the Dead. Death Coil's a 2-mana shadow spell, deal 5 damage to an enemy or restore 5 health to a friendly character. A little too darn good at 2 mana, but it could be a realistic card in the game. Probably around 4 mana. Compare it to like the lifesteal damage spell Priest has. It might be along that vein, but overall, it definitely way too cheap at 2. Death Grip is a 2-mana shadow spell. Steal a minion from your opponent's deck and add it to your hand. I outright doubt they would make a card like this. Imagine them printing a card that would enable you just to steal a minion from your opponent, or oh wait, there's Theotar. But yes, a card like this might be a card they would make. I hope not. This is actually a pretty powerful one against certain decks, control matchups. It helped against fatigue, stealing combo pieces, getting a Malagos back in the day. If they did make it, it would probably be like 3 or 4 mana. I feel like they don't want to make these cards, with the exception of like a Theotar, all that often. Obliterate was a 2-mana spell. Destroy a minion. Your hero takes damage equal to its health. Honestly, this could just be a card in the game. I think at 2 mana, it's got a downside. You remove something. It never felt amazing to get it, and honestly, yeah, I think you could just leave this as is. Death and Decay, deal 3 damage to all enemies, 3-mana shadow spell. It's basically Hellfire, but better for 1 mana less. Typically, a spell like this, you would expect it to be like 5 mana. 5 mana, deal 3 AoEs exists. You have like Fire Sale, things like that. I could see it being a 5-mana card, but at 3 would definitely be too good. Anti-magic spell, 4-mana spell, give your minions +2/+2 and can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Yeah, this would have to be expensive because this effect is pretty disgusting. Making your board completely untargetable can be really powerful, and if it wasn't a game, I'd expect it to be like 6-7 mana. It'd have to be a very expensive effect, unless the Death Knight class cards are just really bad at going wide, but other than that, yeah, I don't see this being a realistic ladder card. Manipulate was not one of the collectible cards. It puts a random minion from each player's hand into the battlefield. If it costs more, attack the enemy hero. Again, probably not a card. It's kind of similar to Duel, I guess, except, you know, it can go face and all of that. So maybe at 5 mana could be realistic and be an interesting one. You certainly could build around it. Doom Pact was another card that felt pretty bad to get a lot of the time. It was a 5-mana shadow spell. Destroy all minions, remove the top card from your deck for each minion destroyed. It was a very costly AoE a lot of the time, and I honestly think probably at 5 mana it could probably stay there. It's double-sided and has some real drawback to it, so unless you're building a real fatigue deck, I think Doom Pact's probably safe. And then the last kind of collectible card is Army of the Dead. 6 mana, remove the top 5 cards of your deck, summon any minions removed. It would go into like a big deck, right? Like big priest style, big demon hunter. You do something like that, and 6 mana, probably a little too good. It'd probably have to be bumped to like 7 or 8 for that big payoff, because if you build around it really particularly, that would be disgusting. But probably could be a valid card, could be a ladder card, but probably it'd have to go up maybe just a mana or 2. And then there's also Fates Demand. Deal your weapons damage to all enemy minions, draw 3 cards. That just seems like a actual pretty reasonable card. It doesn't go face, it draws some cards. That'd actually be a pretty sweet ladder card. It could almost be a bit too expensive, but really cool card actually. And then there was Frostmourne, which we've seen plenty of different versions in the game. The one that you could get from the Death Lich King itself was 7 mana, 5/3 Death Rattle. Summon each minion killed by this weapon. It's another card that didn't feel great. It could probably stay at 7 and be a realistic card. It's kind of cool. It can be really bad against a lot of decks, and overall, yeah, you could honestly leave this as is. It'd be probably fine. And lastly, I just wanted to go over a custom Hearthstone set, 42 cards. We're not going to go through all the cards. There's a lot here, but I kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of maybe what a Death Knight class could look like, at least envisioned by a Hearthstone fan who's obviously pretty encapsulated with the Warcraft lore and all of that. Give them a shout out though. This thread will be linked below if you want to take a look. Further detail at their creation was made by TarkinsBlueSlippers, or on here, the Lore Freak. So he's got Arthas as the hero. So Arthas would be the default Death Knight hero, and who knows what custom ones they would make. Nemzi probably, that's eating. I probably, yes. And it's got its own new keyword, not reborn, but Siphon X. And basically, Siphon does something if your hero dealt damage to minions this turn equal or more than X. So it's like an attack-based hero. If your hero's dealing damage, he's got to have attack. And it goes with his custom hero powers here. This would be the first ever hero to have multiple hero powers if this was the vision of this person. Not saying that's going to be in the game, of course. But yes, basically 1 mana where they would gain some armor, gain 3 armors at the start of your turn, then lose 2 armor. So kind of, you know, just soaking up some damage. Then it swaps each turn. Unholy Presence gives your hero +2 attack this turn, but Siphon 4, so you dealt 4 damage, so with other means as well that turn. Your hero will gain +2 attacks the next turn, and well, you might have Blood Presence, a 3-mana hero power, which gives your hero lifesteal this turn, so if you have a bunch of attack, you can heal up a bunch, which would be pretty strong. So my assumption here is that the Death Knight, at least that it's a possibility, the Death Knight could be another attack-based hero, like the Demon Hunter, which is very attack-based. It'd be interesting to see if we get 2 consecutive heroes that just want to smash. I just thought I'd go over a couple of the key cards. It just looked pretty cool. Maybe these iconic characters could end up showing up in Hearthstone. One legendary here that I thought looked pretty sweet is Darien Mograine. I just like it, or Mograine. I'm gonna get a migraine with how much I mispronounce cards. It's an 8-mana 6/6. It has Lifesteal, Rush Taunt, so that's 6 healing already, and then Death Rattle, so you're probably gonna trade it off and it's gonna die. Equip a Corrupted Ashbringer, I guess similar to what Tyrion has. You get a 4/2 weapon with Mega Lifesteal. It heals you double the amount. I just love the satisfaction of Lifesteal in Hearthstone, and that would be a really cool card. Probably way too much healing for one card, but overall pretty sweet. You have the Aspiring Understudy. Your hero power no longer swaps randomly, cycles based on use cost, so can make it less random. I didn't realize he wanted to be random. I don't know if you want your hero to have a straight up random hero power. Shaman has that, and it's always been a struggle, but kind of cool that maybe Shaman could get something like this too. So we have the Risen Gold. Dude, I again, migraine, pronouncing things. 1 mana 3/1 undead minion, which would imply a new tribe. I guess the undead minions or tribe or style is something in Warcraft, so maybe we'll see the addition of the undead minion type in Hearthstone. I believe if you search undead in the collection manager, it comes up with stuff. And yeah, the die at the start of your turn is kind of weird. We already have 1 mana 3/1 rushes, at least Druid does, so not really sure the validity of it, but kind of cool. We've got the Unholy Gargle, so more of the Siphon stuff. 2 mana 1/4 undead minion. Siphon 2, give this +1 attack. Siphon 4, and at the start of your turn, restore this to full health, so you can buff it up with if you have 2 mana 2/4, and it can re-heal itself. Seems very awkward, but kind of cool. We got Kelsu Zod the Reborn, 9 mana 6/8 undead legendary minion. Battlecry, restore 1 health to your hero for each minion that died this game. That seems ridiculous in terms of, if you got a lot of minions dying, that's pretty incredible. Although it's a 9 mana 6/8, but Death Knight, at least envisioned this way, is going to have a lot of healing. Got the Trader King Anubarak, another undead legendary minion, 10 mana 5/9. At the end of your turn, if your opponent has more minions, fill your board with 1/6 Rubians with Taunt. Did you hate Spreading Plague? How about a Spreading Plague you can never get to? That'd be pretty crazy, but 10 mana, honestly, that effect, it'd be a weird one, because this could be just a dead card in certain situations, but yeah, that would be the aggro player's worst nightmare, but it's turn 10, so it's probably not that big a deal. We have Lord Marogar, 7 mana 5/3 undead. That is, dude, you're statting like it's 2015. This card's gotta be nuts. Battle Cry, 3 random minions go dormant for 2 turns. So I guess that could be your own, your opponent's. Death Rattle, equip Bryn Troll, the Born Arbiter, which is a 6-mana 3/4 weapon. After your hero attacks, deal 1 damage to all enemies, which is a pretty darn good weapon. Okay, I can get on board for this card, possibly. We got Master of the Scourge, 10 mana, fill your board with the random enemy minions that die this game. What a terrible card, but at least it's a 10 mana epic that does something random. So it's kind of like a puzzle box set, well, you probably never want to play. I'll leave off with his special legendary page pretty much. We have a legendary spell, Ends of the Earth. After you destroy 10 minions with your hero, this becomes Frostmourne wherever it is, and this weapon does not lose durability. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, gain armor equal to its cost. That is a ridiculous weapon. It's really cool. Then again, you could just ooze it and make your opponent feel bad, but overall, pretty cool flavor, I have to say. We have an 8 mana location, and yes, locations can return. It's a legendary one. Gain 7 armor when this is destroyed. You then cast the Helm of Domination, which is a 10 mana spell for the rest of the game. At the end of your turn, restore health to your hero equal to your armor. My god, this guy loves healing, loves armor gain. Really cool cards. Again, I just wanted to give you guys a little flavor. Maybe this is what the Death Knight would look like if we got it, or maybe not at all. It's just fan stuff, but overall pretty cool stuff. Again, it's linked below if you want to check it out. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.